Here's what I like about your podcast. You converse with people. You really don't interview people. That's what I think is really cool.
Well, I appreciate that. That's another great compliment. I'm feeling good about myself here. But
I wouldn't feel too good.
Okay, fine.
Crazy ass Peter King.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of a very nice compliment by him. I mean,
one of many.
One of many. You're right. One of few. No, I mean, he's got to say those things nice to me. He's stuck in the back of the car with me. He knows I'm from Jersey. You never know what happens. But either way, last week's podcast with Peter King was a blast. It was a lot of fun. Hey, you're back.
I'm back.
Ahmed Fareed.
I'm back. Hey, you know what?
You want a hug?
I do want a hug.
Friends hug.
It's been too long.
Brothers got a hug. It's good to see you. And you know what else is back?
What?
Football.
Football's back.
Football.
I mean, like we say you were back, and like you haven't been necessarily here at this desk, but you've been everywhere. You're like traveling.
Well, not everywhere. Like it's okay.
Places,
I mean, just Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay, just two.
Talked to Odell. Talked to Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
Trapped Peter King in a car.
You know it.
For a long time.
I feel like he trapped me in a car. I feel like it's the other way around.
So you've been busy. That's what I worry about you is like you've been so busy this offseason that I hope that you've gotten enough rest.
That I don't burn out this year?
We have football now.
Yeah.
Like we have week 1 of the preseason to talk about, and then it just keeps rolling from there. Like I hope that you took the offseason and got enough rest.
Thanks. Are you trying to give me anxiety right now and make me feel worse about it? Where are we going with this, all right?
I'm sure you did, and I'm sure you've been great, and you seem in a good spot, but that's my only worry.
Football's back, okay?
And we're back.
And, yeah, it's so great to have a podcast where we have lots of football to talk about. Did you ever see that movie with Goldie Hawn, Wildcats? You ever see that? One of my favorite football movies. When Woody Harrelson's the quarterback,
no,
Bubba Gump comes in to save the day as the other quarterback. I don't know his real life name. Man, it's a great one.
I've seen like 5 movies. I've seen 5 movies
Played
in my life.
by a king.
I don't know that one.
Football.
I don't know that one.
I was the quarterback for about a week. My specialty was the quarterback sneak.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I know you haven't. That's it.
Draft Day?
Draft Day. Oh, I haven't seen that either. Who the hell would want to see that? I didn't want to see that as soon as I knew the NFL got involved. They said, all right, propaganda, fake crap. I don't care. But either way, we got a lot of stuff to look forward to, right?
We do.
I mean, it's got some news. We're going to break down a lot of stuff that I saw from this past weekend's preseason football games. Going to really, my eye, as I think a lot of people's eyes, should be on the rookies at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe some newcomers. But, the star players barely played, if played at all, in week 1. It's all about evaluating these new guys, seeing what they look like, how they're being used. So I'll have a little tidbit on just about every guy in the first round for the most part. We'll go through that. And then we got some news. And really, there's only one thing in the news.
Yeah.
We're going to Psychoville.
Yeah.
And Antonio Brown's the mayor.
Story that, we knew that Antonio Brown, new wide receiver of the Oakland Raiders after I would call it a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
Pittsburgh, what he's done so far.
He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
But he was missing some practices, and he wasn't quite sure the reason why until you got to the bottom of it and said, no, there was a cryotherapy injury where he was wearing improper footwear and got frostbite on his feet.
Yep.
And kept him out and still keeping him out of training camp practices for the Raiders.
Yeah, and as you're seeing now, Jon Gruden saying it's a serious thing. Of course it's a serious thing. It looked like 3 or 4 layers of his feet peeled off on the bottom. But ultimately what happened to me, I was getting ready to travel out to Cleveland last Monday. And I'm not one, I know a lot of tidbits throughout the NFL and little things where I could go, I could probably break this news and become a big deal, whatever. That's not what I'm here to do at NBC. It's not my role.
Because most of it comes out eventually maybe
comes out eventually through conversation or when a subject comes up, then I'll say, but I know this about the subject and I've been told this by people around the situation. But I'm not looking to, Adam Schefter, Chris Mortensen, the world here and be like, tell everybody. But this was one I just couldn't take anymore as a football fan. I really was like, okay, I'm sitting in the airport, I'm going to Cleveland. What the hell is the deal with this Antonio Brown? I had no inkling, and I just started texting people that I thought might have a little clue. And
they said, I can't tell you. A lot said they couldn't tell.
I know a lot of those Raiders coaches. They all were like, no, I can't tell you. If I tell you it's a weird thing, they'll pin it back to me.
Yeah.
Well, I found out, and then I texted all of them. Oh, I found out, and they were all like, what? Oh, you're breaking news, Hal. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to break this news.
Now you are the Adam Schefter.
Yeah, I am. I had to be. It just, it's like you said, it's one of the best players in football.
Yep.
Arguably the best receiver in football. A lot of people put him up in that category. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's a new team. He forced himself out of an old team with a bunch of shenanigans and really an OG gangster type move as far as how he got out of Pittsburgh. And
got even weirder in the offseason.
Got even weirder.
Social media.
Exactly.
LeBron James conversation.
Right. Wouldn't let it die down.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger, Juju Smith-Schuster, just one constant below the belt shot after another. So then I got to it, and of course I found the answer. I broke that out on Pro Football Talk last week on Tuesday morning, and it just seems like it's opened up the doors for a shitstorm of Antonio Brown stories, right? And it just got weirder and weirder. And I think the first person we learned from was Michael Silver of Yahoo Sports or NFL.com. I'm not even sure what the hell one he works for anymore.
Multiple platforms. Yeah. Broke it on Twitter, and he broke the story on Twitter.
Which was amazing read, all the threads.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. I mean, first off, you think he's coming back, right?
Antonio Brown?
Yeah, I mean, he's coming back. If they tell him he can't lose his helmet, he's not going to sit out. He's not going to lose $30 million.
I don't think you can assume that. I don't think
you don't think so.
That. Yeah.
You think he's crazy enough to actually turn down $30 million guaranteed over a helmet?
He's crazy enough for it to get to this point, right?
Yes, that's true.
How far does the crazy go? And what is the real reason here? So some of the things that Mike Silver talked about was that it wasn't just the cryotherapy and the feet. That was almost maybe a smaller part to the whole story for Antonio Brown and why he was missing some time. The fact that he had his old helmet, which is a 10-year-old helmet.
10-year-old helmet, right.
And wearing it for 10 years.
Yes.
It's never been checked by the NFL because he's been wearing it so long. It was before they.
Well, it'll get refurbished every year, but then you hit a limit on what they're saying as the 10th year, you have to get a brand new one.
Not approved anymore.
Right.
And he's in a group of about 30 players.
31 players.
Tom
exactly
Brady's in that group. Aaron
Rodgers is too.
They've changed to a new helmet this year because the league said you got to do it. It's supposedly safer.
And Brady made comments today about it. He's wearing his new helmet. He doesn't love it, but he's getting used to it, and that's just the way the rules are, and he knew he had to adjust to it.
Joe Staley of the 49ers, I believe, has said, I've seen some comments of the same thing. He's like, I wouldn't have gotten a new helmet, but maybe this is why it's good, is that they're forcing you to be in the safest possible
Of course
helmet.
It is.
Today, not a safe helmet. No helmet can be 100% safe, but the technology is hopefully getting better, and so this is a newer helmet. He doesn't want to wear it. He's been wearing the same helmet he has his whole career, and so he keeps trying to, in practices, sneak in his old helmet, which puts the Raiders liable.
Yes. Makes him in breach of contract of the CBA and everything 100%. Else about that. Yes. So
I'm curious about, because I don't get it, but part of me is like, you know what? Here's Antonio Brown. He's had the same piece of equipment his whole career. He's had a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
It's a little jarring, right?
No, I get that.
If you're told and you feel like your vision's not quite as good in a different helmet, or just something's a little off.
Right.
You're like, man, I'm super comfortable in what I've had before. How much safer can it be? I want what I've had my whole Hall of Fame career up to this point. I'm curious kind of your idea and your philosophy of like comfort as a football player.
All right. Well, the first thing is the whole lawsuit, him trying to say he's going to hold the NFL liable if he gets hurt in the new helmet that's actually better for not getting hurt. That makes no sense. So I can't imagine that that's going to stand the test of time or through the court of law or anything like that. There's no way that'll stand. I mean, the helmet he's using right now has been deemed unsafe for play at this point in time, and you have to move on. And he's refusing to take on the better, safer, probably lighter one. Now, as far as what you're saying, like players being, accustomed or used to little things that they wear uniform-wise, we're creatures of habit. And, of course, I'm sure he is, too. He's been wearing that same helmet, like you said, since 2009. How many footballs has he caught from Ben Roethlisberger? How many times has he sat in front of the jug machine and caught balls while he's just sitting there with the helmet? So he's got this vision and look where he could probably do it in his sleep. Yeah. I mean, he could probably close his eyes and be like, oh, I'm in my helmet, in this face mask, and I'm in my comfort zone. So he does not like that. And all NFL players. I mean, I was obsessed with my thigh pads. I liked the same thigh pads. Sure. I wanted the same shoulder pads every year. I mean, all of that is part of your comfort zone, let alone the superstitious part of being an athlete.
But not to the point where you were ever going to say, I'm willing to forego $30 million of guaranteed money to wear these thigh pads,
Well,
wear this
no.
helmet. So, which is why I think there's a bigger problem going on here with Antonio Brown. It's probably not the helmet. There's something going on. There's something going on, you know, and we don't want to be pop psychologists with Antonio Brown, but clearly he's disgruntled. He's been disgruntled, unhappy for a while. Trade, big life change, new team. Now he's got this helmet issue. It almost seems indicative of a bigger problem for Antonio Brown.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Is it a bigger problem with Antonio Brown? Does he have his own issues he's trying to deal with in his own brain? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, is he doing the helmet thing to hide the feet thing? Was the feet thing to kind of distract from the helmet thing? I don't know. Either way, we know that this has been going on since OTAs. I would love to see his artwork as far as his one Steeler helmet that he painted Raiders colors and tried to sneak out on the field. I mean, that really would be worth the price.
He painted his old helmet, right? To try to sneak it
try
in.
to sneak it by. I would love to see that paint job. I mean, I really would. I would pay to see that picture.
I mean, obviously it wasn't good enough because it was identified. The helmet was identified.
Yeah, exactly. I would love the whole thing, him doing that at home, all of it. This is going to get resolved at some point.
You do think so?
I do.
You think he'll be back?
I do. I think he's going to be back as soon as his feet allow him to be back. He's trying to make a stink about this helmet thing, but I think ultimately he's going to realize that there's no way he can win, especially if guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are abiding by the rules and dealing with the same issue he is, and they're moving on with life and going on to the new piece of equipment. So that's the first thing I think that gets him over the hump. Second thing is, anybody that you know who knows anything, one of the big reasons he wanted to get out of the Pittsburgh Steelers was because he felt like he wanted more money. And he felt like his next contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he probably wasn't going to get paid big money. His money was going to go to Juju Smith-Schuster. So he forced himself out partly mainly because he wanted one more big payday. And he got that from the Oakland Raiders. So now he did all of that, and we're going to give it up just for the helmet? I mean, I just would be absolutely shocked. So Oakland Raiders are saying all the right things, okay? Jon Gruden's saying all the right things. He has to, okay? Yeah. I mean, he stood on a table for this guy, who we all knew was in Crazyville to begin with, right? And here this is one of his biggest moves of his second stint with the Oakland Raiders. And yeah, he's going to do somewhat of damage control. I mean, even if this thing was way worse than we're being led on right now, he's not going to be like, oh, hold on, everybody. This is worse than you even imagine.
So you wonder how much communication Jon Gruden has directly with Antonio Brown, or how much of it is going maybe through the media at this point, because Jon Gruden did talk. He did talk on Antonio Brown when he was asked about it here this past weekend. And here are the comments from Jon Gruden about Antonio Brown.
You know, there's been a lot of reports out there. I can't say I agree with all of them. Certainly, but I support this guy. You know, I think that's what needs to be said. I don't know what anybody's writing or what anybody thinks, but this foot injury wasn't his fault. You know, this was a total accident. It really wasn't his fault, and it's a serious injury. I know some people are smarting at it, but it's really not a laughing matter. The guy was hurt. He was innocent. He didn't do anything wrong, and the helmet thing is a personal matter to him. You know, he has a strong feeling about what he's worn on his head, and we're supporting him.
Were you smarting at the frostbite injury? Were you smarting at that?
I was. I mean,
were you one of the ones smart? That right there is classic. Like, you've seen the report, like a missing persons or whatever.
Yeah.
And the family gets something and they go, hey, we don't care why you left. We don't, and they look into the case. We don't care why you left.
Yeah, right.
We don't care what any of the story.
We just want you back.
We just want you to come back.
Right.
We want you to
We love you.
That was Jon Gruden's audience of one.
That's what he is.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah. I mean,
we love you. We don't think it's crazy, the frostbite thing. We're trying to get the helmet thing worked out. Antonio, please come back.
Oh, no, this is his new toy. I mean, this is above his new toy. I mean, this is like a family member.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, I'm sure this is hurting him to his core.
And it's a weird spot for him to be put in because, you know, Jon Gruden, he does not want, you know, the players to rule.
No,
and he doesn't. Even a superstar player, he wants it to be the authority of Jon Gruden. But here, it's almost like you've got to bend back a little backwards, and Jon Gruden's doing it.
Yeah.
To accommodate Antonio because he means so much to that offense right now, and you've given up a third round and a fifth round pick for him and paid him a lot of money.
Right, exactly.
And so for Jon Gruden, and you know Jon Gruden, it's such a weird spot for him to be in, and maybe a spot that, you know, he's not going to love.
Right.
He's not going to love having to tiptoe the line around Antonio.
No, he's not, but he's going to have to do it right now because he wants to make sure the guy comes back and is happy, and then, you know, and when he is there, there, he's happy and not causing any other distractions. I mean, because if they start talking negatively about him in the press, Antonio Brown's going to come back and he might be really good at football, but he might start acting a fool in the locker room and on the practice field going, well, they don't respect me, I'm going to disrespect them, and you're going to see what's going to happen. So things can get ugly in a hurry from that standpoint. Now for Gruden to say it's not his fault with the cryotherapy thing, I don't know if I believe that. I mean, it's his fault. Did he make a mistake and probably not realize that this would happen to his feet? Sure. But I think ultimately it's his fault. The helmet thing, I'm all for him sticking up for the guy. I get that. He understands players, and that players do have their little, niche things that they like that make them feel comfortable playing football. So he's going to take his guy's corner inside for that. Now, for all the things you're saying, hey, Gruden knew what he was getting into. Right? I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for him or Mike Mayock. They understood. And Mike Tomlin, who coached for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he used to coach under Jon Gruden. So I'm sure there was enough conversation there to go, no, we've heard enough stories through the years to know this isn't going to be like band practice every week with Antonio Brown. Yeah. But Gruden, he is not afraid of these renegade-type football players. Never has been. So I think he can handle a guy like Antonio Brown, and I don't want to say easily, but it's not outside his comfort zone. Okay. Just whether it was years with the Oakland Raiders and guys like Bill Romanowski and other guys he had on that team, or my years in Tampa Bay dealing with Warren Sapp and, Simeon Rice, and we had Rondé Barber and others, just strong personalities. Not to say they're Antonio Brown-like, but Warren Sapp is as similar as you're going to get to that as far as the defensive tackle position. And I think Gruden, he enables these guys a little bit because he builds them up and they're special football players, and he kind of puts them on a pedestal to make them feel like, hey, you're the king and you got to ball out for me, and I'll call lots of plays and ball out for you, and it kind of breeds it to itself. But when you do that, these are the kinds of things that you can get, because Antonio Brown has no fear right now. He has no fear. He's going, Raiders love me. Gruden loves me. He's going to give me the ball 9 million times.
I'm dictating everything at this point.
He knows he's the man there, and that nothing the Raiders are going to do because they're in a bad spot, and they're going to look bad ultimately if this turns sour on him.
And I get that they're superstar players that need a little special attention and get that special attention because their talent is so great. But at the same time, that creeps into a culture of any team.
It can.
It's no mistake that you really haven't heard much of that personality trait and the diva mentality in New England. No. Been so successful for so long.
You're right.
So it's like, while you do have some players that are stars that do this, you wonder how it affects other players on the Raiders, where they say, man, how Antonio Brown can get away with anything. Yes. He can get away with checking his bank account and liking Instagram posts.
Well, this is why there was not much of a market for him to get traded to. Yeah. You get back to this because these are the things that scared people about Antonio Brown. And your point about New England is very fair and spot on. But New England's an outlier from that standpoint. Yeah. Belichick's build that, that culture up there, and because they win, it just doesn't matter who you are. When you walk in the building, you go, they don't need me. I don't care if you're Randy Moss.
Because of what they've done.
Exactly what they've done. So, but everybody else in the league, they're playing favorites. Don't let anybody lie to you, okay? First of all, it's one of the things that drives me crazy about the NFL locker room. The squeaky wheel gets oiled. The guy who they say, if you do good and you work hard and keep your mouth shut, we'll reward you. No, they always get that guy. And the guy who complains and only shows up for workouts every now and then, coaches always end up hypocritical and bowing down to that guy because, oh gosh, he's super talented and we're going to do that. And hey, I understand that goes on in any workplace. Yeah. I mean, you're in sales and you're the top sales guy and you're killing it, then damn, your boss is probably going to let you get away with being late for work than the guy who's on the bottom of the tote ball that's not selling shit. Right? Sure. So I'm saying a lot of bad words today. I better watch it. I'm on a roll.
I
haven't been back in the office in a while, so I'm letting them fly.
It's the new lower desk, I feel like, brings it out in you a little bit.
It does,
a little bit more.
You haven't been behind this new desk,
no,
huh?
And every time I show
up... Do you like our new desk?
I do like it.
Good,
I like the height of it.
Yes,
I feel like
I
can put my feet on the ground, which is very
you
comforting.
can put your foot on the ground.
So,
yes.
And I think you're supposed to do that, actually, for posture.
Put feet on the ground?
Yes.
Yeah, good. I'd rather them not hanging there like I was a 4-year-old.
It's ergonomically sound.
Right.
And I feel like I've had bad posture the first 15 minutes of this podcast so far. There is a poll on NBCSports.com, a Twitter poll.
What?
We asked people whether they thought that Week 1 Antonio Brown would be on the field for the Raiders.
Yes.
69%, no.
Is that right?
Yeah. You think Week 1 he'll be on the field?
I do.
You do?
I think we're going to see Antonio Brown, back on the practice field somewhere right after preseason game number 3, very conveniently.
So
his feet will heal up, and then he'll just practice really hard and get himself in shape ready for week 1.
It's like baseball players who come back in the last week of spring training and they're ready to go. I didn't need that month and a half.
Yeah, just that month and a half.
So you don't question his desire to play?
No, I do not. I do not question his desire to play. I think he's frustrated. He can be a little misguided as far as his thoughts and how to handle these situations, but I think his willingness to be great and be the top receiver in football is real. And I think ultimately, when he gets this foot issue figured out, he's going to be back on there, because I expect the NFL is going to tell him, like, hey, you're cool and all, and we like you, and you're a big deal in this league, but we're the NFL, and ratings stay pretty high no matter who the hell comes in and out of the league. I mean, Peyton Manning retired, and the NFL did not crumble. It somehow stayed alive.
Right.
I mean, somehow. I don't know how it did it. And he's a pretty big deal, too. So, he's going to get the brutal truth about the helmet thing. He's going to have to make the switch. He might, stomp his feet a little bit. But either way, I think he's out there ultimately for week 1 ready to go.
So before we wrap it up, the conversation, this is a crazy story, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every element of it with you.
It's the 2 craziest off-season stories I've seen in a long time, and it's been pulled off by the same guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anybody pull off what he pulled off to Pittsburgh to get to Oakland. He's the first guy ever to basically hold a team hostage and say, nah, I'm going to do what I want to. I know you owe me money, and you're going to lose money if you trade me, but I'm still getting out of town. I'm going to get paid. I've never seen anything like that.
And they let him go for a 3rd round and a 5th round pick, which now maybe is like, wow, you got that much out of Antonio Brown.
Exactly.
What a good deal for Pittsburgh.
Right.
So I want to do a quick power rankings here of Antonio Brown, from the craziest thing about the story to the least crazy thing. They may all be crazy here. Here are the 5. The fact that he painted his old helmet to try to sneak it onto the field. The fact that he did cryotherapy. The fact that he got frostbite from cryotherapy. That's a 3rd one. The 4th is the fact that he wants to wear a 10-year-old helmet. And the 5th one is that the fact that he checks his bank account and Instagram likes during meetings. So of the least crazy to the most crazy part of the story.
Let me just, can I look at those so I can, you're acting like I have a good memory and I can figure this all out. Okay.
That's because I have a bad memory too.
Did cryotherapy is number 5.
That's the least crazy.
The least. I mean, cryotherapy is very in vogue in the NFL right now.
What is it? You step into...
You lay in, I believe, a freezing cold machine, basically, and it's like, it's a way of rejuvenating your body.
I mean, you could call an ice bath.
It's basically like that. I think it's just more intense than that. That's exactly what it is.
So that's 5.
So I'm going to put that at 5, okay?
Yep.
I like that. I think number 4... is going to be checks the bank account and IG likes during meetings.
Yeah.
I'll just say this. I think that's almost standard protocol for all diva receivers in the NFL. I'm sure just about all of them give them 1 check, okay?
Me too. I've done that. And I feel like I'm not a diva.
So I think from that standpoint, that's not totally crazy.
Not my bank account, but I'd have checked.
Yeah, well, if your bank account looked like Antonio Brown's, you'd probably check it too. Let me just make sure that says the right thing again. What?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go wants to wear his 10-year-old helmet as number 3. Okay? And then number 2 is painted his old helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a beauty. That is a beauty. I can't believe something hasn't got out about that yet. But
it looked like a picture of the helmet.
If I was Derek Carr and Antonio Brown came out and I noticed that his helmet was all messed up and not looking like the rest of ours, I mean, that would have been the funnest day of practice for me ever as a quarterback. I'd have been ragging on him the whole day.
How many Halloween costumes are we going to see with Antonio Brown jersey with just like some ragtag?
So like mishmash of gray and silver with like some black from the Steelers
with like ice around his feet. It's a great Halloween costume.
That would be a good one. And then frostbite from cryotherapy has to be number 1. I mean, has to be. I mean, I know I've never done cryotherapy.
Yeah.
And I knew you had to put something on your feet or extremities there to cover yourself. So I don't know if he was misinformed there, if he had never done it before, or he just thought, damn, I'm Antonio Brown and my feet won't freeze. I'll just go through it.
Yeah.
I'm not putting any of those out of the realm of possibilities with this guy right now. But I like that. That was it was good power.
So number 1 got frostbite. I would go number 1, painted his old helmet.
Painted his old helmet. That's the craziest thing you did?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny.
It is funny.
You don't know the intention if he did it kind of just to be funny.
Right,
Or if he So I might
until he left.
number one.
Until he left the facility that day, it was like, I'm not coming back.
So we're going to put this on our on a poll, NBCSports.com/Twitter. Oh, we're going to put it on your Twitter account.
Okay.
We're going to tweet for you, and so we'll go.
Thanks.
We'll see what the people out there. If you're listening to this and the vote is still open, go out there and give a vote to see which is the craziest part of the Antonio Brown story, which all are crazy. But I would have gone number 5, least crazy, the checking the.
That's pretty. That's standard protocol. There's a lot of guys in the NFL that are checking their stuff.
If you don't do that, you're noble. It's like a great story.
No,
like, I don't check my phone
or you're a coach who's what a lot of the new coaches are like. Every 30 minutes, you get a 5-minute break to go get on your phone and do that. That would be the way to kind of get that out of your meeting room and not deal with it. Okay. All right, I got a very important thing to do here. I got a professional read.
Yes, go
okay, because I'm a professional. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Good luck.
Peter King podcast. I got to give it some pub. I mean, I was stuck in the car with the guy for 2 hours, okay? But either way, the Peter King podcast, I recommend anybody download it. Great interviews, great insight. I mean, he's Peter freaking King. He gets access to guys that most people in the media don't. And, I mean, he helped me get access to even in Pittsburgh and Cleveland to certain guys. But he's still on his training camp tour. Check that out this week in the podcast. He's got Christian McCaffrey. He's out in Raiderland today. So we might have some more on the Antonio Brown front here because of Peter King. I know he's pissed off because his flight got delayed and he didn't get to go to Arizona yesterday. So he's really pissed that he didn't get to go see Kyler Murray. He couldn't even fake it on the little video I saw. Yep. But, hey, anything from Peter is phenomenal. And Peter just – I don't expect that you listen to my podcast when you're not here, but last week in the back of the car –
Oh, yeah, I watched
it. I watched it. I mean, I couldn't get a question out. I could every time, so Peter, what do you think? I'll tell you this about the Philadelphia Eagles, Chris. He's just amazing. He's just a fountain of knowledge and stories, and truly enjoy listening to them. So I recommend that download for anybody out there, the podcast, Peter King podcast.
And for sure, Football Morning in America by Peter King.
I mean, come on, it's a staple.
I was reading it again today. I mean, there's just so much good information.
Yeah.
Like, how long does it take him to write that? It's got to be an all-week thing for him.
It seems like it.
So many good little nuggets in there that don't all get big. You think like, oh, I've probably heard most of this. No, you go through it and you're like, wow, I never heard that anywhere else. And it's all in Peter King's column that you traveled with. And what's it like with Peter King? What's one story, maybe one thing we didn't know about Peter King that you learned from traveling with him?
He's a pretty good beer drinker. I didn't realize that. He can throw him down.
In amount in amount quantity.
Yeah, he can throw him down in a hurry. And, throwing food down and belching with it is no problem for him either. I mean,
he writes about craft breweries a lot.
Oh, so. Yeah. He had some cool beers that he had collected along the way that, when we did have a stop or something like that, he was cracking one open. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Seems like a good guy.
He is a great guy.
I want to get in the car and go with Peter King. All right, now it is time for a little segment that we like to call Film Review. Huh?
Pretty good. It's pretty creative. Right? We worked hard on that.
We locked ourselves in a room this whole off season to come up with that. And then I think you just at the end of it, you go, hey, what about film review?
Film review.
Like, you know what?
And then I went, how about film notes?
And then,
And then we went, no, film review is better.
There are 10 people in a room. It's like, Chris, good one.
Yeah.
So here's film review. We're going to go through some quick hitters here in a little bit because I want to get your opinion on a lot of the rookies that we got out there at different positions.
Yep.
But can I start with the quarterbacks?
Of course you can.
And I want to start with the number 1 pick in Kyler Murray over there with the Cardinals. So you've looked at film on all these guys, right?
Right.
So you've got good opinions as you always do. Let me just give everyone out there, in case you missed it, what he did in his first preseason game. 6-7, 44 yards, and 10 total plays during that first drive of the game. He was sacked one time for a 5-yard loss. He wanted to take the team on a scoring drive. He was very vocal to Cliff Kingsbury and the coaching staff that, hey, keep me in. I want to go another series, try to orchestrate a scoring drive. They did not allow that to happen yet. So he wanted to stay on the field, but when he was out there, numbers looked pretty good. How did the film look?
It looked like the number 1 pick in the draft. I mean, a guy that, this is why Arizona took him and traded away Josh Rosen, because you can see the special gifts that he has right from the start. I mean, it's apparent. From the very first throw, just how quickly he can get the ball out of his hands. And, between that, the look in the pocket, the comfort level, the way the ball just absolutely explodes out of his hands. I mean, hey, throwing out routes to his left, bam, on the money. Out route to the right, bam, on the money. On the run to the right, can just run full speed and flick it with no effort, on the money. His one incompletion was a scramble getting outside of the pocket where the receiver stepped out of bounds and then came back inbounds. He threw that ball on the screws as well. So I just think from everything I saw, and again, I'm not about stats. I don't even care if he went 2 for 7 on these throws or whatever it may be. He looked the part. Physically, when he tried to escape the pocket, you could see the speed is real. And he didn't look as small as I thought he would look within the pocket either. He's got a presence about him. He plays bigger than 5'10". And because he's such a gifted thrower, he can find lanes. And I think that's the thing. I saw him get his arm up high one time to throw a ball, and then I've seen him throw, sidearm, whatever he wants to do. But the physical gifts are there, and he's a special player, and just will be shocked if we don't continue to see special things from him.
Interesting. Okay,
yeah.
So you like what you saw in the first outing for Kyler?
I'm not going to judge any of these too harshly, regardless. But that was outstanding. Yes.
And the fact that he goes into an offense that he's familiar with, more familiar than his teammates are, because it's an offense that was
huge
similar
advantage.
To what he ran. You think that there's a better chance that he can get off to a good start and have a better rookie year because of, one, the skill set that he has, and two, the offense? I mean, are we looking at, you would not be shocked if he threw up one of the top 10 quarterback rookie seasons of all time?
No, I would not be shocked. I don't know if they have enough help around him. That would be the biggest question, to continue to further evaluate their offensive line. Can they run the ball good enough with David Johnson just to keep people honest that way? All those things will dictate how well he does. But either way, he's got special talents that we haven't seen come into this league. And your point to what you're saying with that offense, I mean, I can't remember a rookie quarterback coming in that type of situation. It's really amazing. And it makes him feel comfortable. And you could tell he's comfortable. As where I looked at other rookie quarterbacks, when they're kind of getting to the line of scrimmage and they're changing a play, you could see that second of pause, like, they know what they want to do, but they can't spit it out of their mouth yet. And they're like, check. He was like instantaneously lifted a leg, didn't see what he liked. He was directing traffic right away. Why? Because he knows the offense inside and out. He's not even having to change the system. And everybody's looking to him for the answers, which also empowers him even more to be like, yeah, I'm the man. I got the answers, and I'm the young guy here. So all those things positive. And they would be rolling. I mean, they would have a lot of sleepless nights if they didn't draft him and they saw that game somewhere else. They would be like, oh my gosh, we might have made just the biggest mistakes of our career. So good thing they drafted him number 1.
All right, so far so good.
Yeah.
So far so good for another rookie quarterback, a top 6 quarterback, number 6 pick in the draft.
I see you're looking at me with a little twinkle in your eye, like, yeah, you might have got this one wrong,
no,
Chris.
No, I don't think that. I mean, obviously everyone thought it was too high at the time with Daniel Jones to the Giants at number 6. But I did say after that week, and because I am right once every 25 times, but I go, he has to be better than what we're all saying.
Yes,
because we crushed the pick so much, and we thought it was too high, which maybe it'll prove to be too high in the long run. I mean, the chances are good because the number 6 pick is super high, but he's not the worst quarterback ever taken in the first round of the NFL. He was 5 for 5 in his first game, 67 yards, a touchdown. His only series ended with a 12-yard touchdown pass to Benny Fowler. I know you don't care about the numbers, so what'd you see on the film?
But again, the numbers match what you see. Yeah. And there's another guy where I just looked at, okay, he belongs. Okay, he's very comfortable. It wasn't like deer in the headlights, like, oh gosh, this is too much for me. I mean, he's a pure thrower. He threw the ball better than I gave him credit for. And I knew going into the game that there was going to be some things that he was going to do well. I've heard too many positive reviews out of New York training camp. One from my dad, who was there last week. I think my dad's been there multiple times, who said, Christopher, Daniel Jones he's more talented than I had given him credit for. And I know they were raving about him in the OTAs and all that too. But either way, what you saw there, smooth throwing, perfect spirals, accuracy on point. And again, ball popping out of his hand. Now, I'm not going to say it was like popping out of his hand like Kyler Murray-ish, but still impressive enough to go, oh, there's a 20-yard out route on the money for a touchdown, in the back right corner of the end zone. So I wish we would have got to see another drive, but either way, he might be the most impressive guy of the weekend, not because of what I just saw physically, but because of all the things you said. There was the most pressure on him. I mean, if he threw an interception in that first drive, holy crap, would he have heard it? We've been talking about, did they mess up the number 6 pick? So, one, they did a good job of orchestrating a drive, calling some plays that I think were friendly to him and that he feel comfortable with. But 2, he made some great throws. Not only the touchdown throw, he throws a big deep cross pass too, where, I look at little things like this. So many times as a rookie quarterback, you drop back and go, oh, the number 1 receiver, he's not open. Oh gosh, and you start to panic. And you look at number 2 and you don't give number 2 a chance because number 1 got covered so quickly where you're not even giving 2 the proper time. So all of a sudden now you're off 2 and you're on to 3 and 3's not ready. And all of a sudden scramble or, you got to throw the ball to the back because everything's out of whack. He throws a deep cross. I can't remember who he threw it to, but number 1 was it open. And he just sat there and just said, okay, number 2 is not where I want him to be, but I can see he's going to be open. And he stood there in the pocket in the throwing position, patted the ball another 1 or 2 times, bam, throws a strike on the sideline there, 20-something yard gain. Those are the things I go, ooh, the guy's got to feel he's not a robot. And that's when I say he was very comfortable being out there. It wasn't deer in the headlights where, hey, we've seen other quarterbacks. I could go to Drew Lock in the Hall of Fame game where I would go, yeah, there was a few deer in the headlight moments where he was just like, oh, gosh, I don't know where to go with the ball. I'll just throw it over there. Yeah. I didn't see any of that from Daniel Jones, so good for him.
I think he's got the proper personality to be able to handle this. He seems very self-deprecating. From what I hear from people that know him after this game, he says, yeah, there's a couple things I messed up the first couple of plays. When you're playing with good players, though, it helps to make up for it. And so he already is, even though he was 5 for 5, 67 yards, he's like, yeah, I screwed up a few things. And it was my teammates that helped me out. And I almost wonder in a way if that whole idea of him being overdrafted and not worthy of the number 6 pick, in a weird way, it's not fun while you're going through it, right? But it takes some of the pressure off because number 1 pick in Kyler Murray, he's got a ton of pressure to produce.
Yes,
a lot of people think he's going to be good. Right. He's got the number 1 pick tab on him now.
Won the Heisman, all that.
Daniel Jones, almost in a weird way, it's like, yeah, everyone thought that I shouldn't have been the number 6 pick, and now all I got to do is go and prove him wrong. And if I don't, then they'll just be like, yeah, that's what we thought.
Yeah, that's what he thought. Yeah, you're right. It does. You can look at it either way. The pressure's off because he has nowhere to go but up. But yet the pressure's on because, he's under a microscope, and a lot of people don't think he's the number 6 pick. But it doesn't seem to affect him at all.
Yeah.
And I think it was a real positive with the way he looked.
After what you saw in week 1 of the preseason, still, caveats around.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the chorus of we want to see Daniel Jones on the field will grow with Eli Manning?
With Eli,
still there as a starter.
With his falters, yes, I do. I think if he continues along this line, it's just going to give the fans more confidence to call for him if we're in week 3 or week 4, and the Giants have gotten off to a 1-3 start or a 1-2 start. It's just, good games are going to put pressure on that situation to go, okay, we're 2-4, we're not going to the Super Bowl. We know what Eli is at this point. Move on. He can put pressure on the whole organization and the situation itself if he continues to play the way he did last week.
Giants fans going from, I can't believe we took this guy, to we need him to save our season.
Yes,
he is
the one thing, and I know Eli Manning has fixed his throwing motion too, worked with a baseball coach. I've heard good things about him in training camp too. And again, from my dad being one of those people. But I think that one thing that leads to that stuff for Giant fans too is you see Daniel Jones go in there and you just go, man, his arm looks fresh. The ball looks like it's popping. Well, yeah, a lot of quarterbacks are going to look like the ball pops out of their hands after watching Eli Manning for the last 3 or 4 years kind of just throw balls all over the field.
Yeah.
And that's why Eli, he's going to have to play well to keep his job.
Daniel Jones, despite that, probably won't start in the beginning of the year. We'll see how that goes. Dwayne Haskins, maybe.
Yeah.
Washington
maybe
has a little bit better shot of starting week 1, although Jay Gruden has said that Case Keenum and Colt McCoy are a little bit ahead of him so far. He was 8 of 14. He got to play quite a bit, Dwayne Haskins.
Yes, he did.
8 of 14, 117 yards. Did throw 2 interceptions versus the Browns. You've seen the tape. What'd you see?
Yeah, well, big, powerful man. The biggest thing I'll take away from one of the biggest knocks that he had from the draft was his movement. He's not a good athlete. He ran a 5.2 at the combine, which was not a good look. I get that. But the film never said 5.2. And the film never said, oh, he can't move around in the pocket and make things happen. So I think that was the first thing I took away. He scrambled a number of times. He had people around him a few times, kind of moved in the pocket and made throws like that. His arm is real. It's going to stress defenses out. I say this a lot. a good offense, a good quarterback make you defend the whole field, right? You can't play like one certain area. Oh, this guy likes to throw it short, or this guy likes to throw it between the numbers. Dwayne Haskins is not going to allow you to do any of that stuff. I mean, his first play of his career is bootleg, roll right, 25-yard laser down the field, down along the right sideline. Right. His next throw is 4 verticals, and he throws a ball in between the corner and the safety where, most young quarterbacks and most coaches teaching young quarterbacks, let's not even worry about that throw right now. But he just does it so nonchalant. Oh, it's okay, 30-yard laser in between the corner and the safety. Bam, completion. The guy ended up fumbling. Either way. So there's plenty of things right there where he's going to strike fear into defenses that I go, ooh, I like all of that. Mm-hmm. Now, there's some raw moments, definitely. I mean, hey, the second interception, it was bad. He's throwing a seam route down the middle. Not only is the throw bad, he locked onto the receiver. The safety was cheated over to that side already. He should have played the other side, but he's young, and he's only played 1 year, and these are all the things we thought. The first interception, the one that got the pick 6, actually less concerning to me. He made the right read. The play is there.
Wheel route to
the tailback, right.
Yeah.
He had him coming out of the backfield, had the look he wanted. He just didn't throw the proper ball. That one does not concern me. Okay. If he just let the play develop a little bit longer and threw the ball downfield, the guy was going to outrun the linebacker, and he's probably going to have a big gain. Or you throw a laser at the guy and kind of back shoulder him before he gets to that linebacker, so that linebacker can't pick six it. So he kind of got caught in between throws there. But either way, I would be encouraged with what I saw. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is going to start the season. I know it's an open battle, and they're going to continue to say that. I fully expect it to be Case Keenum, who looked good too, by the way. And then a little bit like we just talked about with Eli Manning and Daniel Jones. We get to week 4 or week 5, and they're 2-4 or 1-3. Hey, they're going to go, the Redskins aren't going to the Super Bowl. Then you might see Dwayne Haskins. But I still think you could see some people jumping off sides. The pauses I talked about at the line of scrimmage when he was changing plays and things, you could tell it just wasn't natural to him and fine. He was getting it done, but he's thinking a lot still.
Sure.
So a lot of good. I certainly was not discouraged by the 2 interceptions. I'm more encouraged by what I saw from Dwayne Haskins.
I don't know if it was you or Mike on PFT who mentioned the fact that the Lions were poking around at the number 8 pick of going quarterback. Was that you?
That was me, yes.
So it would have been Dwayne Haskins.
It could have been. I've heard the name Daniel Jones in that conversation too, right?
If been still
so
available.
Maybe maybe the Detroit Lions are one of those 2 teams that Dave will get him and said, I know for a fact that 2 teams were going to take this kid before pick 17, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's who he is. But I do know that the Lions were doing their due diligence on the quarterbacks and were thinking about it. So, yeah, no doubt.
He impressed a rookie that you said didn't quite impress, perhaps, in his first showing.
Right.
Is Drew Lock, a quarterback out of Missouri that you were very high on.
Definitely.
Higher than most people on going into the draft. Ended up going to the Denver Broncos. Played a ton. Threw the ball 28 times in his first preseason game. 17-28, 180 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against Seattle, who was playing Paxton Lynch. It was like ghosts of
Christmas past or John Elway past.
Quarterbacks.
Seriously, Paxton Lynch looked good.
But what did you think of Drew Lock, who also was sacked 3 times and ran the ball 3 times for 11 yards?
Yeah, I mean, much better and again, I'll say this, even in the Hall of Fame game, I don't care that the results weren't that great. I go for the look at first, Does he have a presence in the pocket? When he does move, am I going, ooh, he moves well? When he does throw the ball, does the ball pop it? I don't expect guys to be, striping, strike after strike after strike, just on the money type throws in their first preseason game. And certainly, just like we talked with Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock the same way. I mean, I don't think Drew Lock was really coached his senior year in college. He just went out there and played football and just made it happen. So there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. But I thought the second game against the Seahawks was much more impressive. I mean, he didn't miss throws where I just said, oh, come on, you got to hit that throw. There was a few of those in the Hall of Fame game where you went, man, come on, man, he's open. You got to hit that.
Yeah.
This game, I think he took advantage of all those situations. I still don't think he's comfortable. I saw enough and watched him enough on film last year to go, hey, he's just not letting it fly right now. Where, for an example, if last year in Missouri, if he had a guy 30 yards open down the middle of the field, he would have thrown his laser and just hit him in the chest. Yeah. Right now, there's a guy open 30 yards down the middle of the field. He's kind of like, oh, let me just lay it in there so he'll catch it. So that tells me he's thinking, he's trying to be careful, he's trying to be perfect. all of those things. But I do like the athlete. I do like the arm. And I think it's all going in the right direction. And I thought it was a pretty good performance in Seattle.
So those were the higher drafted quarterbacks. Drew Lock falling to the second round. But what about?
Yeah, we got to talk about this one.
Jarrett Stidham?
Yes.
The future Tom Brady replacement?
Well, I mean,
who may buy his $39 million home in the Massachusetts-Boston area. And I don't know. He is. So Tom Brady is selling his house.
I know. Well, he's going to have to give it away to Jarrett Stidham because he doesn't have $39 million yet. Not yet.
Not quite yet. He can maybe rent out a room.
Yeah, well,
Jarrett. 14 to 24, 179 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yes. I knew we were going to talk about quarterbacks. And our asshole producer, Matt Casey, came in and said, we're going to break down all the rookie quarterbacks. So we got to talk about Jarrett Stidham, right? Yep. Yeah. I'm talking to you, Matt Casey.
Matt Casey didn't like you.
Yeah, I know he did. But so what? He has to deal with it. But
he doesn't have a microphone right now.
Yeah, right. Deal with it. But, I mean, might have been the most impressive rookie showing of all.
Oh, really?
I mean, the way he played, again, his physical ability is not Kyler Murray, okay?
He's not doing that. Daniel Jones may be the best.
But I'm just talking about,
and Kyler Murray, you're pretty high on.
I am high on it, so I'm throwing out praise to all these guys. I was blown away with Stidham. Stidham's was every bit as good as Daniel Jones.
He was as good as Daniel Jones.
It was every bit.
Okay.
Now, I thought he was every bit as good as Daniel Jones coming out in the draft, too. So maybe I'm biased, and we'll continue.
Okay.
But I think as anyone listens to me, they're going to start to, if I was biased, I would have found some negative about Daniel Jones because, I was kind of negative in my draft, research and all that. But Stidham, I mean, you talk about poise in the pocket, big throws. I mean, he made a few throws where I went, damn, that's NFL like week 5 of the season throw. Standing in the pocket, talk about the poise again, people around him not getting off reads too early. Oh, here comes an in cut 20 yards down the middle of the field. Yeah, there's a little hole for it. If I just throw it high and give him a chance to catch it, bam, he puts it right on the money. I mean, he really reminded me of Jimmy Garoppolo and his mannerisms, too, the way he played. But you've got to be excited if you're a New England Patriots fan because I do think this guy has the skill set and brains to possibly be that Brady replacement. This is a guy, I'll stand by this, and I've said this before. He was a first-round pick 2 years ago if he comes out at Auburn. When they were good, the team was good. But you know what? The team wasn't good. It filtered into his play. It made him look like a little bit of a disaster altogether. He had some of the worst pass protection I saw, and he didn't have a great senior year. But, man, he's in the perfect spot. You could tell he's taking the learning. And, yeah, his arm has some serious pop. I mean, it does. I'm not going to say it's Dwayne Haskins, but it's not Kyler Murray, but it's the next level down. It's right there. It's a stronger arm than Daniel Jones. So, yeah, I really liked what I saw from Jarrett Stidham. I'm just trying to think if there was anything,
Well, he's, when he is 23 years old.
Yeah, a little older, right?
A better chance that he was going to hit the ground running.
Yes.
His first preseason in the NFL.
Yep. Had 3 awesome throws dropped for a touchdown pass. But my big thing that I starred was his composure in the pocket, like I was talking about with some of the other guys. Didn't rush through reads. At times things were off, but he could tell through the big picture of the defense, this guy's going to be open if I just stand here for a second longer. And he did it and delivered the ball on the money for the most part. Like really, really impressed with the way he looked.
Huge caveat.
Yeah.
It was against the Detroit Lions.
Yes, I know.
It looked
horrible. I know. It did not look good. But I'm not going to let that dictate anything. And like I said, some of the throws, people were covered or it was a tight window, and he just didn't flinch and just threw it right in there. So pumped about what I saw from him.
Stock rising on Jarrett Stidham. Although if you've been listening to Chris Simms, he's been high on him for a long, long time.
Yes, I have.
I want to wrap it up with a non-rookie quarterback. Was a rookie last year. New team, though, Josh Rosen.
Right, yeah.
13 to 20, 191 yards, 1 interception, was sacked twice, did direct 3 scoring drives of 60 yards or more. So the team scored with him under center. The way you said there makes me feel like you're about to be like, he was fine.
He was good. Wasn't great. He's got room to improve. And again, I say this with everybody knowing, this is a guy that's in his second year. He's on his second team, and he's learning a system that is one of the harder systems to learn in all of football. He made a few nice throws. He throws such a pretty ball. He can be so accurate with things he does as far as placement of the ball. The things that I wrote down that kind of bothered me, I think the most, he was over-aggressive. He was a little over-aggressive at times. And you know, Brian Flores made some comments the day after the game. I wish he would stop being such a gunslinger. Yeah, there was a few throws where you go, the guy's covered down the field. Don't throw it to him. There's somebody underneath. Just hit it. Move on. Let's get 3 or 4 yards, and we'll go to 2nd and 6.
What's good aggressiveness and bad? I mean, because in this talk here, you've talked about I wish he'd take some more chances.
Yeah, right.
Josh Rosen does take a few chances, but then you look at the chances he took, and they're low percentage ones.
Yeah, well, when a guy's like totally smothered on the sidelines, right, and you've been looking at him for 5 seconds and he's still not open, don't just throw it to him just to go, oh, I was aggressive, right? Like, oh, great, you were aggressive, but it wasn't worth the shit. So don't be. You know, get off it. Move on to the next read. I felt like there were some plays where he was looking to, like, take this competition by the reins, and I'm going to show everybody. And
because Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starter.
Exactly right.
He played just a little bit, 20 yards. And Ryan Fitzpatrick as a starter is you can beat him out. But once you beat him out, Ryan
you better
Fitzpatrick
watch out.
as the backup is probably
he's dangerous. He becomes a gunslinger and fearless again, right? But yeah, hey, the first play he's in on the game, he's got a play that we would call ride 134 go. It means 2 go routes on the outside. That's what New England terminology is. He's got a go route, and the tight end's going to run a deep cross. The go route's covered. He won't get off it. He just keeps looking at it because he wanted to throw the go route.
Is this stuff you've seen from him from last year?
No,
in Arizona?
last year, no. I think this is something new. A totally different situation. But I would have just been like, all right, the go's not there. Get off it. There's your tight end coming across. You had a 20-yard completion, but you were obsessed with that go route, and it ended up being an incompletion where you just forced it for no reason because you wanted to throw it. Right. You know, there was a slant-flat combination one time. He wanted to throw the slant, but the quarterback teaching and the defense said, throw the ball to the flat. They've out-leveraged the guy to the flat. If you threw it to him, you would have got 6, 8 yards. Instead, he sits there, has nowhere to throw the slant, ends up getting sacked. Little things like that. I think I might have had one other one. But, yeah, other thing you got to take into account here. He did not have great pass pro when he was in there. I did think overall his throwing is pure. He shows more talent with his arm. You know, his decision-making was not top-notch. And like I said, he was a little jumpy in the pocket because of the pressure, and I thought he hung on the first read a few times a little too long. But he can get over that, and I think that's a battle that still has a lot of mileage left in it.
And this is why I love preseason, because a lot of it you got to throw out, right? With veteran players, you throw out.
Yes.
It's just like you can't tell a whole lot. But it's the first time we've seen these quarterbacks in an NFL environment, in a game that kind of matters with a lot of guys out there that are trying to make a team.
That's right.
You can learn some stuff.
That's why I say the look. You know, I'm not going to just overanalyze and, okay, you know, this guy gets in and he's playing with his second team offense versus the first team defense. All of a sudden, it's a disadvantage. It might not look great statistically when all is said and done, but I'm going to look as the guy look physically capable of being there. Can he do some special things? Yeah. Is he making the right decisions even though there's nothing there to be had? Those are the little things you look at.
Do things I didn't think he could maybe do.
Right, exactly right.
Okay,
exactly right.
Before we get off your film review from week 1, we'll go some non-quarterbacks here. These are rapid fire, quick hitters.
Yeah, you know me and rapid fire.
Our producer Matt Casey goes,
make sure it's rapid.
Make sure it's rapid fire. So after 5 seconds, we got to move on.
Okay.
Quinnen Williams from the Jets.
Quinnen Williams, not a lot to say there, okay? It was good. I'm going to say it's indifferent. There was nothing special to talk about. It was only 1 drive, maybe 2 off the top of my head. Okay. Certainly nothing good or bad. I got to see more. Yeah. But I'm not like, oh, gosh, that was bad. I'm indifferent at this point.
So I know you haven't seen a whole lot of, you haven't really broke down the tape on these guys.
But I did. No, I said the thing I said. I think I wrote the best thing he did. He was very good at double teams. That was the one thing I'll say.
Okay.
He's not a huge defensive tackle. He's 295, 298, 305, somewhere in there. I thought he handled double teams very well. Very rapid the first one.
Matt Casey's not happy right now. Ed Oliver.
Good, bad. Man, looks small, looks like Aaron Donald, but it's my biggest question was double teams with him. He was phenomenal versus double teams, and his athleticism pops. I was more encouraged with what I saw, and again, this means nothing. This is early.
Yeah.
But he was more encouraging after 1 game than Quinnen Williams, but they're being asked to do different things. But starting defensive tackle right off the bat at Oliver.
People thought the Raiders reached on Clelin Ferrell.
And as of right now, I would say that's still real. And again, I'm not that it was bad, but Clelin Ferrell, when I talk about the look of a guy or what it looks like, yeah, it was underwhelming. And it's, yes, there's not explosion coming off the edge. I don't think he's worth the number 4 pick. We'll see. I hope he proves me wrong. I know the kid's good. I know he works hard, all of those things. But always concerning me, too, on third downs when you drafted a number 4 pick to be a pass rusher and they're already moving him to defensive tackle and bringing other guys in to rush the edge. For the number 4 pick, Khalil Mack was the number 4 pick. So I still have questions there, big time with Clelin Ferrell. I know he's going to be solid. Is greatness there? Number 4 is greatness, and I know they're solid there and good, but I don't know if there's greatness. I am rapid as hell.
Not been a great week for the Raiders, right? I mean, that's
now you want to talk about the other 2 rookies? They look good. Jonathan Abrams, a safety, he's like a pit bull in the back end. Okay. Watch out. He's looking to rip your head off or latch on and never let go. Okay, and then the Trayvon Mullen in the corner. Damn, starting, looks good, looks like a starter. I think he's going to be a stud. So there's some love in the radars. Clelin Ferrell, I know he's going to be good and play, but I don't see superstar yet until he proves me wrong.
Josh Allen, not the quarterback. We're going to Jackson.
Josh Allen, the physicality in the run game is what jumped out to me. The way he looked in his uniform jumped out to me. I mean, he looked Adonis-like out there, Greek god. He was great in the run game. My big question about Josh Allen still remains, though. Can he win with power in the pass rush? It was underwhelming with the pass rush. Again, I know legs are tired. It's the first preseason game. They're thinking a lot. But those are things I need to see as I go forward. He's physical in all aspects of his game except for the pass rush. And if he doesn't get speed to power or get a power move, he's not speedy enough to where he's just going to win like that all game, every game against NFL left tackles.
Brian Burns, Carolina.
Ooh, I mean, freaky athlete. Like, his movements, his things he can do in space are really special. I think that's the first thing I looked at. Didn't show a variety of pass rush moves. The big question he has to answer is a little bit like we just talked about. He's a 245-pound defensive end. Can he win with power? Can he bull rush offensive tackles? If he can just do that with a little bit of consistency, it's going to make him really hard to block with everything else because everything else is there. You know, the ability to threaten you upfield and then go under, the ability just to beat you with pure speed around the edge. I mean, that's all there. But if he doesn't have a power move, which he did a lot in this game, I think that's all they told him to do. Let's do power. Let's do power. Right. But I was really encouraged with what he looks like. There's not a lot of animals in the NFL that look like Brian Burns running around. He's very much like the guy in Chicago, Leonard Floyd, who was a top 6 pick. He very much has that same skill set.
Stock rising.
Yeah.
The stock was up on both the Devins in the NFL Combine. We heard it from Devin White and Devin Bush in the defensive side here. We'll start with Devin White.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay.
Devin White looks good. He's fast as hell. It wasn't a lot to go from, and he only played, I think, 10 plays, maybe even not even that. So, I'll give you a better assessment after next week. Either way, he looks the part, and that's encouraging. Now, you go to the Devin Bush. He did more. He was in there more. One, I got to see him in person last Wednesday in practice. I mean, what an unbelievable set of ass and legs, first off, okay? Yeah. And
you and Peter talked about him?
Yes, definitely. I mean, he's playing a major role for that defense. They're trying to get him ready right away. His ability to read and react and shoot a hole is very special. His ability to turn on the afterburners and blitz and hit a quarterback, very special. His big question is going to be getting off blocks or avoiding blocks when the run game's coming right at him. He's going to have to figure out what he wants to do there. Is he going to be a guy that lays the hammer down when they're coming to block him? Or is he going to be a guy that makes somebody miss like Ryan Shazier and then wiggle his way around to make the tackle? He's going to have to figure that aspect out as he goes along.
But as a guy who understands the defense and can call plays at this point,
yes. No, it's impressive. Yeah, impressive. Both guys are really impressive. Devin Bush has played a whole lot more, and he gets to see a lot more of him than Devin White.
So Devin Bush, stock rising on Devin Bush?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Stock unchanged on Devin White, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly right. I was high on him already. We just got to see more snaps to give you a clearer picture.
Former University of Michigan and former New Jersey high school star in Rashan Gary with the Packers.
A little bit like we saw with Josh Allen on the edge. Mm-hmm. He is a load to handle in the run game. He's going to dominate tight ends and things like that. He has a physical presence about him. His athleticism jumps off the screen as far as his first step or change of direction. I have one big question with the Rashan Gary. It's play stamina. That's the only thing I worry about. Can he play 60, 70 snaps a game and give me 100%, on 98% of those snaps? I think that's the biggest question going forward. As you watch him and evaluate him, he can give you 2 or 3 snaps where you go, ooh, man, pedal to the metal. But on that 4th snap, you could beat him in a race. And that's what worries me about him. I think that's why they let him play so much in this game. They're probably worried about him getting in shape so he can do 60, 70 snaps a game. Yeah. But him, okay, and that safety on the back end, Darnell Savage, I think are very, very impressive looking.
Okay,
yeah.
Darnell Savage, impressive. Yeah. N'Keal Harry with the Patriots?
Yeah, N'Keal Harry, the first thing that jumps out is size. I mean, he looks like a tight end out there.
Big target.
Yeah, so back shoulders, jump balls, red zone target. I think, that's what we saw in the game the other night. He's going to be right in his comfort zone. The thing I have an issue with right now is 0 separation. I mean, 0. He was covered like glue on both of those catches, and nobody was scared of him going upfield. Now, I know he's got a little hamstring issue, I believe, that there's some tightness there. Maybe that's it, so I want to see that going forward. But, I knew he's going to be able to catch the contested balls and those things.
Right.
Can he beat people over the top? Can he shake free from top-tier corners when he is on the outside? I think that'll be the big question that I need answered as we go along.
Stock unchanged.
Stock unchanged. And I'm not really worried about him as much because nobody's better at getting receivers open than the New England Patriots. And I think ultimately he's going to be some sort of like a Michael Thomas type for them, a big slot receiver who works the middle of the field a lot.
49ers have had a lot of injuries so far.
Ooh, yes, already. They have.
They've gotten beat up. But what'd you see from Deebo Samuel?
They're dangerous, okay? As far as guys like Deebo Samuel, physical, fearless over the middle, should have had a touchdown catch. He runs a little double move along the left sideline for a 40-something yard gain. He's got the guy beat. If the quarterback just throws it out there, he's going to walk into the end zone. Instead, it's underthrown. He jumps up. He catches it, kind of mosses the guy to catch the football. But I'm encouraged with what I saw from Deebo Samuel, and I'm going to further this conversation with Jalen Hurd. I'm telling you, I haven't talked to my buddy Kyle Shanahan, so I can feel this is going to be a dangerous combination for a lot of reasons. Shanahan likes to run the ball, the play-action pass. These guys are great at run blocking. They're fearless over the middle. And I'm going to add another caveat where I think these guys are going to be dangerous. Deebo Samuel, he got a reverse the other night. These guys, Jalen Hurd played running back at the University of Tennessee. They're going to be able to put these guys on the field at the same time, and you're not going to know where they're going to line up. I would not be shocked if you saw Jalen Hurd and Deebo Samuel at tailback, or Garoppolo in the shotgun, and it's Jalen Hurd and Deebo Samuel on either side of them, and then Dante Pittis is slot out, at one receiver, Kittle's at tight end, and Marquise Goodwin's at the other receiver. I think that's where it's going to get interesting. You can't peg these guys. They're very versatile as far as they're almost like weapons, not really receivers. They can do everything. So I think that's what I'm excited about there.
I'm going to go Hurd and Samuel stock up. I'm going to give them a stock up from what I just heard from you. Mecole Hardman from the Chiefs.
What? Rocket up his ass? I mean, that's what he is. Yes, it's a technical term.
Yeah. Is he okay? Is he okay?
Yeah, he is. He seems to be quite fine with it. It's going to get him a lot of money one of these days. Okay? Yeah. But Mecole Hardman, it's a very similar story to Tyreek Hill. It's a guy who's raw at receiver. He's just a weapon, again, who they're going to try to polish his receiving skills. But you're going to see speed sweeps and reverses and wide receiver screens. And just as soon as you think they're doing that, boom, he's going to go right over the top of you for 60-yard gains that way. So true danger, perfect for what they want to do there in Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City's going to be scary when him, Sammy Watkins, and Tyreek Hill are in the game all at the same time with Travis Kelce. Who are you going to double? Who are you going to leave man-to-man? If you are man-to-man with any one of those three, they can run right by you. Yeah. And that should be exciting for Kansas City Chiefs fans.
I'm going to give him a stock up as well.
Yeah, you should.
Feel good about
definitely.
And another playmaker. Did you see playmaking ability with the Bears, David Montgomery?
I did. David Montgomery, and I'll say this. I wasn't real high on him coming out in the draft. He can make people miss. He's got incredible vision. He's elusive that way. Now, my big question is, and I don't think I've been answered here yet with this, some of those runs are against second and third stringers, and I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but my point is his speed is still a little bit of an issue to me. He catches a screen on the right side where, he makes good yardage, but every running back in football would have got those yards. I mean, the good ones, it would have been a house call. It was him one-on-one with one guy, and it would have, so, you know, again, just don't look at the stats and go, oh, the stats are pretty good. No, it's what's there to be had. How much did you take advantage of it? So his running between the tackles is impressive because he is elusive. He can make people miss. He can run through arm tackles. My problem is acceleration. He can make a person miss, and by the time he gets going again, the first person's going to catch him and tackle him. And I think that's what I worry about. I need to see a little bit more, but nonetheless, a good start by Montgomery.
I'm going to give him stock unchanged.
Unchanged, right. So more to be seen. Need to see more.
Is there anyone else you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. I think that's all. I mean, I watched Christian Wilkins. Who would you say, Matt?
We want to, you know, you're not a big fantasy guy,
yeah,
are you?
Right.
Are you a big fantasy guy or no?
No, not really.
You don't play. I'm trying to get in 2 leagues. I am in the Roto World League.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Roto World has a podcast as well.
They do, and I'm going to be on it tomorrow.
Oh, you are?
I am.
With
I'm
Josh?
Well, yes.
Morris?
Yes. Well, I should say this. Tomorrow we're having a live fantasy draft, okay? So it's not
Already?
the podcast. Yes. It's August 13th.
Wow.
Tuesday, August 13th. I'm going to be on there with Josh Norris and all the guys from Roto World, plus Yahoo. We're going to live stream it on YouTube, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. tomorrow. Available on the Roto World Football Podcast, okay? And, hey, don't forget, there's the Roto World
They gave me
draft
a free copy.
guide.
I got a free copy at the
There
cafeteria.
you go. And it's mobile optimized, too. Somebody wrote that on the bottom of my card, and I don't know what that means, but
No,
sounds
the
good.
magazine's not mobile optimized.
No, it's not?
And this is you.
Just
well, I
Roto
guess
World
actually
is?
it is. You can take it wherever you want to go.
I would think so.
You can read this on a plane. You don't even need Wi-Fi for the magazine. That's a great thing about the magazine.
So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow because I am clueless about fantasy. I'm going to try to give a little reality to their fantasy when this draft goes on and maybe add some insight there, so we'll see how it goes.
Fantasy is a lot about roles, playing times, which I think you can add in your insight is how much is a guy going to play, how many opportunities will he see. He might not be great in those opportunities, but if you get him, then that's valuable on the fantasy side. And so I feel like I'm in a league with all of them now.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
Because this is what they do for a living.
Yeah.
They live the Roto world. They live the fantasy world, and now I'm in a league with them. So that could be a problem.
Do you know what the worst part about fantasy is?
What?
I don't know.
What? Oh, because you've never done it before.
No, I never did.
Oh.
Never did.
I thought you had some big grand bad thing, like it ruins people's lives.
No, I did
or
not.
whatever.
No.
Okay. I got a surprise for you here. A surprise segment.
Go ahead.
And because in the preseason, this is what you hear all the time in the preseason. You go, overreactions, the overreactions from week 1 of the preseason. Don't overreact to anything. So that's been done multiple times.
Of course.
But for the first time here on the Simms Unbuttoned podcast, we're doing something a little bit differently. You don't know this. We're going week 1 of the preseason, underreactions, things that may be a big deal that maybe we aren't giving enough attention to.
Okay.
So we're going the opposite way here. I'm going to throw a few things out there and see if we're underreacting to them.
Okay, I like this.
Just some news and notes and tidbits from games. I'm going to start with the Vikings, and they traded for not only a kicker, but a kickoff specialist and a punter. They may have gotten a 3-1 Corey Vedvik, who hails from Norway.
Yeah.
Was with the Ravens. First preseason game goes 4 for 4 with field goals of 55, 54, 26, and 29 yards, and then averaged 55 yards on 2 punts. This is all for the Ravens, now traded to the Vikings. The Vikings may have just gotten a weapon.
I know.
It could be very valuable to them. Maybe, I don't know if we're
I don't know who's in trouble. You're right. We're underreacting to that one.
Underreaction, okay.
We are. I'm with you there. Because, first of all, it's fascinating. Who's in trouble out there in Minnesota? Is it Dan Bailey, the kicker, or the punter, who I can't remember his name off the top of my head?
Yeah.
But either way, it's going to be fascinating, too, if they decide to sign, what's his name? Vedvik?
Yeah, Corey Vedvik.
Vedvik is... I mean, this could be the wave of the future. I mean,
you have one roster spot for your kicking, punting,
that
and
would be unbelievable. Either way, even if he's just your field goal kicker, now you have a backup punter that's on the roster too, just in case something happens. So that's a great insurance policy from that standpoint. But with this day and age, the 53-man roster and the 46 that can dress during game day, man, I would think this is something that coaches are going to want more and more. You have this guy, maybe you can have a third-string quarterback or one extra defensive lineman or one extra special teamer that you want to add to it.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. We're underselling that one.
So, and it's not only a big deal for the Vikings who got him, it's maybe a big deal for the teams that missed out on him. Like a Bears team is a team that would love to have a guy perhaps like Corey Vedvik.
Yep.
While I was looking up this story too, I realized, and I read this other tidbit, that the Ravens, I didn't realize this, they have not lost a preseason game since 2015. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
They have won 14 straight.
Holy cow.
John Harbaugh talked about their last loss was September 3rd, 2015, a 1-point loss to Atlanta. He goes, I'm still mad about that one.
That's amazing. I can see, though, I mean, again, they're going to be tough in the preseason. They're one of the biggest teams in football always. So you're always like, it's going to be a little bit of a shell shock for any team that plays them. Their defense is a little different than most as far as creativity. Even their base packages are a little more creative than the normal base packages. So from that standpoint, I could see why they'd be a pain in the butt to deal with in the preseason.
Okay, so maybe that was an underreaction. Story number 2, Le'Veon Bell, new team with the Jets, big signing for them. He warmed up in uniform, did not play one snap.
Oh.
Are we not noticing something there? Is it for him to be in uniform but not play one snap? Is that an underreaction?
No.
Okay.
It's not an underreaction. I think that's just a what do we want to say? That's just proper.
Why not in street clothes though? You know, I mean, if you're not going to play.
Well, they're like, it's a dress rehearsal.
Okay.
So their coach wants sometimes, like I believe even Odell Beckham Jr. did this with the Cleveland Browns. Like the coach wants you to go out there, get used to pregame warm-ups. Let's go through all, the shenanigans that it'll be like for the regular season, except when it comes time to play, we're not going to let you get out there and get hit and get hurt. So I think that's more what it's about, just to kind of get used to the environment once again.
Okay, they're not all going to hit. That was just a proper reaction.
Yeah, that's okay.
There.
That's okay,
that one
good.
Shouldn't be talked about. Yeah.
Proper.
Jameis Winston. Are we underreacting to the transformation that we're already seeing with Jameis Winston, who completed 5 passes all around the line of scrimmage for the preseason game? Bruce Arians trying to make him more of a game manager. Don't do stupid stuff out there. Are we already seeing the transformation of Jameis Winston?
I think that we should give it a little bit more due diligence than it's getting. Okay. I'll say that because, yes, it did show. 1, some nice movement in the pocket, but 2, there was no semblance of a dumb decision or a why are you forcing that down there against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It looked pretty smooth. I guess it's not getting the attention it should be getting because we were probably expecting this improvement from Bruce Arians.
Sure.
But we've been expecting an improvement from Jameis Winston for 4 years in a row now, and we still get these, knucklehead, head-scratching type moves, and we saw none of that. It was a good start, and the Bucs are one of those teams. They can throw a whole wrench into the NFC. I don't know what to expect from them. They have some talent at some key positions. They got very good coaches on both sides of the ball, but they're young. Jameis is unproven. There's some defensive guys that are unproven. They could be a pain in the butt and ruin a lot of people's playoff chances this year and be in playoff contention themselves. If you told me they ended up 4-12, I don't know if I'd be that shocked either. So I don't know what to think of them right now.
High variance of what they can be, but I think a lot of people are excited to see what Bruce Arians can do there. Are we underreacting to the fact that Melvin Gordon sitting out? We don't know how long he will be continuing to sit out. But in the first preseason game, Austin Eckler, the 24-year-old backup running back, carried the ball 5 times for 40 yards. Did have a fumble near the goal line. But in his career so far, he's averaged 5.3 yards per carry. Very good. Better than Melvin Gordon. Are we underreacting to the fact that perhaps the Chargers think they have a running back who could replace Melvin Gordon, and Melvin Gordon will be shipped out at some point?
Well, yes. Yes, I think you're right. I mean, we are underreacting. I mean, Phillip Rivers tried to tell us that we're pretty deep at this position and we're going to go with the guys we got. It wasn't a shot at Melvin Gordon or anything like that. He was just going, damn, if you watch football the last 2 years, Austin Eckler's good. He can contribute. The kid Jackson they had last year who came in towards the end of the year when Melvin Gordon was hurt too, he showed some promise. So I think it's a position that they feel comfortable with. I don't think any of these guys are as good as Melvin Gordon. I don't. And I think like the scenario you brought up, goal line touchdown runs, that's where they're going to probably miss him because Melvin Gordon is one of those, whoa, look at this dude. When he walks in the room, I mean, it's traps and shoulders and neck, and he's a big guy. And, of course, he can move well, too. But, no, I don't think that the Los Angeles Chargers are nearly as scared going into the season without Melvin Gordon as compared to the Cowboys with Ezekiel Elliott. I think there is some fear there. They can say all they want in Dallas, but Zeke's pretty important. You know, in Los Angeles, the pass game's proven. They've shown that they can win games with the pass game. In Dallas, that's not so much a thing yet, and they're not as creative with the scheme. You know, Dak Prescott hasn't had that pressure on him like a Phillip Rivers to carry the team that way. I don't think the Melvin Gordon thing's going to end pretty. It's either him going to have to cave and come back, or he's going to sit out the year. Because I can't imagine anybody trading for him either with his knee situation.
Yeah. All right, so that was it.
Underreaction.
What'd you think?
Monday.
You know,
that was good. I like it.
I don't want to blow everything up into a big deal.
I know.
But maybe there are some things that slip through the cracks that we maybe should be paying a little.
I hear you.
Attention
Yeah,
to.
no. I'm all for giving. You know me. I mean, we do Robin Hood segments sometimes. I'm all for giving attention to things that don't get enough attention. So good job by you.
And I'm glad that you said that suiting up and not playing is not a big deal.
No, it's not a big deal. It's not. Okay. The Two Robbies podcast, okay?
I was listening to it on the way in today.
Yeah, is it good? Because I've never listened to it, but I know these guys are like...
Robbie Musto, Robbie Earl.
Yep, Robbie Musto, Robbie Earl. They have the EPL's back in business, baby. So they started over this weekend, right?
Premier League.
Manchester United beat Chelsea yesterday.
4-0.
4-0? I saw a 1-0 early lead, so they ran away with it.
Second half.
Okay, all right. I kind of root for Man U. So that's cool, but either way, check that out. You know, Robbie Musto, Robbie Earl, new episode available, breaking down week 1 of the Premier League. They taped, I guess, this last show in the rain, pitch side at Manchester United. And for all those which pitch side means, that means right on the side of the field, I'm guessing. I'm not sure either. But the Two Robbie podcast, if you're into soccer, you're definitely going to like that listen. Two Robbies. I guess they don't use Bob over there, huh?
They go Rob. They call each other Rob, but yeah, they both Rob.
No Bobs over there? No Bobs. Okay.
Which would make it easier.
Yeah.
Right? If I was a Bob.
Hey, Bob.
No, they're not Bobs. But that's a good podcast, and the Premier League season, 1 week down, 37 to go.
I mean, when does it ever end? I don't even know what the hell's going on there. I never know.
All year long. Poll results are in.
Yeah? What?
For the Antonio Brown, what is the craziest thing of the story? We only, Twitter poll, you only have room for really 3.
Right.
Other got 4% of the vote. So
okay.
There's some other stuff out there. The third, 9% of the vote was checking his bank account during team meetings and liking on Instagram.
Right.
Second, with 31% of the vote, was getting frostbite from cryotherapy. And the number one craziest...
Is the helmet one?
For the Antonio Brown story was 56% painting his old helmet to try to sneak it in to use it again for Raiders practice.
That's a classic. I mean, that is a classic. It's a close one, but I mean, getting into a freezing machine and thinking your feet won't freeze is kind of crazier.
Matt Casey does want us to qualify the fact that he did not paint his own helmet. He had it painted.
He had it painted.
Yeah, he did not.
Okay.
Which I don't know how, Matt, how you can.
I don't know how that works either.
Confirm that because maybe has a shop in his back of his house there. Crazy stuff.
Yo, it was good to have you back,
yeah,
kid.
absolutely.
Way to be back in the fold.
We did it.
You're here. Are you coming back Wednesday?
I'll be back Wednesday.
All right, Wednesday, we're going to have the big here. My dad will be on, okay? He couldn't do today. He had to do something for, his work. Maybe that other 3-letter network, okay? He might have to do something for them. But either way, Wednesday, Big Phil will be here. We'll talk football with him. And we're also going to do an Ask Me Anything. Yes. That's what we're looking for. We haven't had one in a while. So please send questions in, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, anything you want to ask me in the NFL football universe, feel free. And if you want to get personal, I'm always down to do that too. All right, everybody. Peace out, homies. Ahmed, you the man. We'll see you Wednesday. That was a weird slap.
Why?
Because that was like dorky white guy slap. All right, peace. We're out of here.
I am.
Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.